Alrighty guys, as the bringing is another Dragon Ball Legends ToP guide video. This is going to be in regard to ToP season 59. So last season we ended up hitting rank 4245. We ended up trying out the newly Zenkai Perfect Cell, and I have to say that he performed incredibly. Unfortunately, he did get demoted to B tier this season, so if you would rather use Ultra Kid Buu, who is in C tier, then that's understandable. Another thing I'd like to mention is that we only used one healer this time around, meaning that we did not bring Fat Buu on our team at all, and we still maintained our average score about 115 million points. So go ahead and take that with a grain of salt about using two healers or one healer. So before we move into the rest of the video, there will be timestamps in the description down below. That way you guys can go ahead and get to where you need to go. Alright, so this is the pathing for the season right here. I actually think this is going to be a very easy season. There was only like maybe one or two difficult fights that I definitely saw. But as usual, the circled fights are going to be the most important fights because those are the fights where you're going to be getting the most points, right? Because it does factor in a win streak bonus. If you guys end up deviating from the blue path, that's fine. I would say trying to just stay true to those circled fights at the very least. So now let's go ahead and move on to the tips and tricks portion. The very first tip that I'm going to go ahead and give you guys is to farm your friendship rank, and I say this every single season because it is that important. As you can see right here, my entire roster is at friendship rank 10 right here, and it does play a big factor in ToP. As you can see right here, that my key restore speed is at 2664 with this Piccolo. Regularly, he would only be getting 2538. There is an increase to all of your stats across the board. It does cap out at friendship rank 10, so you do want to go ahead and farm your units up there. The current unit that we are going to be grinding friendship rank with is going to be this purple Super Buu, since he's only sitting at friendship rank 3 as of right now. The easiest way to actually farm your friendship rank is through doing the Let's Fight event. You get 3 daily stages per day. It takes, I would say it averages about a week and a half to get a unit from friendship rank 0 to 10 through this event. If you want to manually farm your friendship rank, you can also go into the story mode, part 6, book 1, chapter 8. This is the most tedious way to do it though. It takes forever and I really don't recommend doing this. Okay, so now let's go ahead and go over to the trickiest fights within our pathing. So the first fight we come across is the Shadow Dragon stage. You want to go for the supports first, meaning Yellow Sin Shinron and EX Blue Sin Shinron. Go for the Ultra Omega last, since he buffs GT allies once he gets below 59% HP. After that, we do have the Fusion Reborn stage. You want to kill Ultra Gogeta first, and then save the Janembas for last. Specifically, save the red Janemba for last because he will stun you upon getting hit with the Blast card. This is actually a really easy fight, even though there's an Ultra here. Next is the Skotki stage. Can be a little bit annoying, right? Beerus will stun on turn 2, so kill him first, and if possible, kill Tapion on turn 1 as well, since he reduces one of your unit's super gauge to 0 on turn 2. We have this PO team, right? You want to kill the tag droids before they get a chance to tag out, and then the yellow cell, since he does support and debuffs at the same time. Another common fight that we have been seeing these past couple of seasons is mono red. You want to kill the Tapion first. Next we do have Future. You want to kill Mai before the end of turn 2, since she will stun you. Also try to kill Blue Goku Black before the end of turn 2, since that's when most of his support and debuffs come in. This is probably going to be one of the more difficult stages of the season, if not the most difficult one of the season. Next we have Sagas from the movies with 2 Ultras. So you want to kill Ultra Broly first so he cannot stun you on turn 2, and then focus down Ultra Gogeta immediately. Next is the Cyber Squad. You want to kill Nappa first, since he does have board-wide debuffs, and then the Blue Cybermen because he will stun you on turn 4. You do have some wiggle room to kill him before then. Next is the Hera Squad. You want to focus on the Bojacks first, since they both super on turn 2. Red Bojack first, since he does have the higher key restore speed, and then Purple Bojack, since he has a really low key restore speed. Remember, the key restore speed is equivalent to their attack order. Bujin will stun on turn 2, but I think you should just eat it. Next is this Cooler movie stage. You want to take out Thouser, since he will significantly buff a singular Cooler unit, and then take out EX Cooler. Save Yellow Goku and Purple Cooler for last, as Goku heals himself and allies upon getting hit, and the Purple Cooler buffs Sagas upon getting hit. Next is this double Broly stage. You want to take out the Ultra Broly first, because he will stun at the start of turn 2, and then Sparking Broly because he will stun at the end of turn 2. I would say just ignore Tapion on this specific fight. If there's any other fights that you think I should have covered here, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's go ahead and move on to the next. Alright, so before we fully get into our top teams for the season, I do want to say we have a couple of honorary mentions, being Sagas from the movies and Hybrid Saiyans. But as for our top 5, we're going to be starting off with Super Warriors. This is the current rank 1 player. We have Blue Tien, who is extremely solid since he heals himself and easily farms super attacks. Unfortunately, I only have him at low stars. I do think it's necessary for him to be at least 6 stars since he is going to be somewhat of a tank. And then you do have Blue Krillin and the Zenkai Purple Krillin, both possessing a solar flare ability, right? So this is actually huge because you have some damage mitigation there. So this Blue Krillin, he actually gets it at the start of the first turn, and then this Purple Krillin, he gets it at the start of the first turn. So right off rip, you're already going to be stunning 2 of the enemy team's units. Speaking of damage mitigation, you also have this Baseball Yamcha, who is going to be able to mitigate a Blast Arts, and after he mitigates the Blast Art, he actually gets half of his kit right here, so 40% to a critical rate, and he debuffs the enemy team. So you're avoiding a ton of damage just with these 3 units right here. The only thing that I'm really concerned about this team is the lack of a good healer. Technically, you can use the yellow EX Piccolo, which is what you do see on my backup right here, since he does belong to the Super Warrior tag, but his offenses and his defenses are extremely subpar, so definitely be aware of that. Even at Friendship Rank 10, we've tested him multiple times on a regeneration setup. So next we have girls. So easily the first thing I'm going to go ahead and tell you is that 1000 Day Bulma can be replaced by this Purple Mai. Purple Mai is definitely going to be slightly worse than the 1000 Day Bulma, but she does buff your entire board. A unit who I would say cannot really be replaced is this EX Blue Kale. I think she's a staple on any girls / USS team. At the end of the turn, she does heal allies in range by 2%. That activates 2 times. She's going to be healing that entire top row as well as her own space. But if you want to run another healer, that is completely possible. If you just hop into A tier, you can run this Red 18, which I assume most of you guys do have. She's an extremely old unit. Or if you guys happen to be lucky enough that yellow ToP EX18 is in Z tier, I believe. Between me and the person on the right hand side right here, you can see I do swap out that Zenkai EX18 for Urine. I think Urine actually works a bit better here because of her debuffs and she has really good damage. This EX18 is alright, but I think the biggest gripe that I've noticed with her kit, with your guys' issues with her kit, is that she restores her health at the end of the first turn. She probably isn't going to be taking a lot of damage in that very first turn, right? But who knows? She might actually be more valuable. I'm not too sure. That's why I actually personally like this Yellow Vidal's ability a bit more. She heals herself by 10% at the end of the second turn. So next we have USS. USS, once again, we do see Blue Kale here as a standout unit due to her healing prowess. ToP EX18 can also be ran here as a supplementary healer, plus she is Z tier, right? So win-win, just like we were talking about with girls. If I had Yellow 18, I probably would go ahead and place her instead of this Zenkai Caulifla on my own team. And then right here on the right hand side, I would probably replace the EX Blue Champa. I don't think Blue Champa is that much of a standout unit. A very good strat that I see with this team here is through this Zenkai Kale, because she has an unrestricted cover change. Right before receiving a Strike Arts attack, allies in range, you perform a cover change, minus 20% to damage received until opponent's attack ends. Right, you can see that your unit does not have to be below a certain HP threshold, so this is really, really good. So make sure you guys are placing her next to a unit that you want to protect. Like for example, if she's right here, she's going to solely be protecting that Blue Kale. If I have her up here, she's going to be protecting that Brienne. If I have her somewhere like this where she's sandwiched in between 2 units, then she has the possibility of cover changing for only one of them. If you want to run an OP unit here in exchange for lesser points, run the Go Frieza instead of the purple Bergamo. Right, because this unit basically does everything, will be a standout carry unit. The only downside is that they are in C tier. Next we have Ginyu Force. Most of the units here are Z tier, minus a couple of them. This person is rank 11 with this team, but personally I would toss out that Purple Nail because he is simply here for points. He's useless outside of him being Z tier, and instead used Revival Frieza, who is in B tier. He is a healer for Frieza Force and easily fits onto the team, and even though he may be B tier, he is just simply better for survivability. Plus he has some decent debuffs. As you can see right there, he debuffs the entire enemy board, but that heal is really what you want him for. If you really want to go crazy with this team, you could simply also swap out this Raccoon, again for lesser points, and then put on the Go Frieza right here because he will be receiving all of the Frieza Force buffs. So the last team we're going to be talking about is Regeneration, or the team that we're going to be using for the season. So we'll go tier by tier. Starting off in Z tier, we're going to be picking up this purple sparking Boo, right? He does have debuffs here. I think he kind of sucks, right? We're going to be mainly using him for points because there's no other great regeneration unit here that lies in Z tier. But we'll be working on his friendship rank, so hopefully that helps us a little bit. Next, in S tier, we do have this purple cell. I'm actually really fond of him. He does debuff the entire enemy team, and he's just been pretty resilient throughout all of our runs right here. He doesn't necessarily get folded on turn 1, such as the yellow EX Piccolo. And another pickup unit that we have from S tier is this Gohan. He is only 3 stars. He's only 3 stars, but I do have him at friendship rank 10, and I think this is the perfect opportunity to use him since he is in S tier. He's the only red unit that I would place above red 21. If you guys don't have him, don't worry. Just dive into B tier and put red 21 in place of him. So next in A tier, we do have a couple of recurring units here. With this Kamikolo, he does build super attacks very, very quickly. This first form cell, who has a really high Q restore speed and has a massive heal at the end of turn 2, which I like a lot. But we are going to be picking up a yellow unit here in the form of this Legends Road Kamikolo. He's able to heal himself slightly, and he also is able to buff the entire tag regeneration, so I think he'll be pretty solid here. If you have Ultra Kid Buu and want to use him instead, he is in C tier, you can go ahead and do that. If you want a different yellow but don't want to go all the way to C tier, you do have great options in B tier, including this perfect cell that we used last season. I thought he performed phenomenally, or even better yet, this Legends Limited Piccolo, who is more blast based and he does get a guaranteed super attack on turn 3. A unit that we're picking up from here though is the Buu Tanks, who gets a guaranteed super attack on turn 1. And then last but not least, we do have Super Baby 2, who is he's just sensational, right? We're going to bring him every single time. He is the best healer for regeneration. If you guys need any replacements for this team, let me know in the comment section down below. So for the last segment, let's go ahead and talk about new characters. We're going to start off with this Legends Limited cell right here. Look at his ToP stats, maximum stats. So his key restore speed is a bit on the lower side at 2,338. He does have the standard blue card. His first ability, at the start of the battle, 90% to own damage inflicted, minus 25% to own damage received, but he inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade plus 10% to damage received for 2 turns. That's actually pretty good. And you also inflict them all with minus 30 to key recovery. Again, that's going to be directly affecting their attack order. At the start of turn, per enemy tag Saiyan or Sun family, 5% to damage inflicted for 1 turn, cannot be cancelled, and another 50 to key recovery. That's actually pretty good since you do see a ton of Saiyans and Sun family units in ToP. At the start of the first turn, you activate your green card, enemies in range, inflicts attribute downgrade plus 10% to damage received for 2 turns, and minus 30 to key recovery. So he's really just kind of crippling the enemy team. And on special move arts activation, you inflict attribute downgrade plus 15% to damage received for 1 turn. Okay, he's just basically going crazy on the debuffs. So his second ability, he does have a strike cover change, health restricted by the way, at 30%. At the start of the turn, per defeated enemy, you get 5% to special move gauge, 10% to special move damage, and 2% to key recovery. So the key recovery is not even really much of an issue at this point. And after receiving an attack, he restores his own health by 1%, another 5% to own special move gauge, and inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade, plus 10% to damage received for 1 turn. I think he's amazing. The debuff potential here is you're going to be basically melting through your enemies like butter. Let me go ahead and see what tier he is. So this cell is in A tier. All the new units are in A tier right here, including the free-to-play Android 18. So if you want to replace one of the purple units, maybe that Super Buu isn't appealing to you, go ahead and slap this guy on if you have him. Next, we have the Super Saiyan Youth Gohan right here. We'll go ahead and check out his ToP stats, maximum stats. Key restore speed is abysmal, 2,181. That's pretty awful. He does have the standard blue card here and so his first ability, he gets 60% to damage inflicted, minus 30% to damage received. At the start of the first turn, he applies buff effects, nullifies abnormal conditions once, and 20% to health restoration for 3 turns, so you better have some healing in here. At the start of the third turn, you activate your green card, 40% to strike damage, minus 15% to damage received, and a 60 to keep. See, that should have been like 60% or something. Simply plus 60 is not going to be helping his case at all here. His next ability, after receiving an attack, plus 10% to damage inflicted, activates once, and plus 10% to special move, gauge charge rate, activates once. Okay, that's pretty good. This is for your entire board. I would say that's pretty damn good. I like that a lot. After receiving an attack, health is 50% or below. I don't really like the HP restriction there. He does get health back by 3%. 30% to special move damage inflicted, and 30% to special move gauge. Start of turn, if there are 3 or more other allied tag Hybrid Saiyans, Sun Family, or Cell Saga, you do 20% to own damage inflicted, and plus 30 to allies key recovery. The only worthwhile ability here is just this part. That's it. So next we do have this EX Cell Jr. So ToP stats, maximum stats once again, 2,427 for his key restore speed is actually pretty solid. He does have the regular blue card here, and his ability, he only has one ability because he's an EX unit. He gets 60% to damage inflicted, minus 15% to damage received, plus 80 to key recovery. I mean, that's alright. He has a decent key recovery, so that is going to help. At the start of a turn, he gets minus 10% to next damage sustain, and another plus 20 to key recovery. And according to battle turn, first turn he gets 15% to blast damage, second turn 15% to blast damage, third turn restores health by 3%, and 30%. He's very linear. He's very like a boring kit, right? I don't think he's necessarily going to be one of those crazy standout units, especially compared to some other EX units, specifically like Red Turles, right? He's alright. Last but not least, we do have the free-to-play Android 18. Let's go and look at ToP stats. We already have her maxed out anyways. Her key restore speed is at 2,300. It's mediocre, right? It's not the best, not the worst. Does have the regular blue card. First ability, 15% to blast damage inflicted by allies in range for 1 turn. 65% to own damage inflicted, minus 15 to own damage received, plus 70 to own key recovery, not bad. And you inflict all enemies with attribute downgrade plus 5% to blast damage received. I like that. You inflict all enemies with that? That's actually pretty huge. And on Blast Art's attack self, you get plus 10% to damage inflicted and plus 5% to blast damage inflicted. Second ability at the end of turn, 5% to own special move gauge. That's actually pretty huge because there's 4 turns, that's already 20% a fight. And 5% to special move damage inflicted by allied tag androids, event exclusive, or Cell Saga. Inflicts enemy with attribute downgrade plus 10% to damage received for 1 turn. And on special move arts attack, 25% to own special move damage inflicted. Cancels enemy attribute upgrades and buff effects. She's alright. She's very, it feels like her PvP kit as well. She's canceling buff effects with her blue card and stuff like that. She's building her blue card. I would say she's decent, not necessarily a must run, something groundbreaking here. Let me know what you guys think of the new units. Alright, so that being said, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this guide video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns related to ToP or specifically this season in general, let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys enjoy the content, make sure you guys leave a like and maybe even consider hitting that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later!